action. Welcome to episode 13 of the Minisodes of the Founder Diaries. Thank you once again for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe on whatever platform that you're listening to this on. And today's episode, we are talking about just because the idea didn't make money doesn't mean it failed. A lot of times when you try an idea, especially if it's like a new business idea, if it doesn't make money, we automatically bundle it up and assume that didn't work, it failed. But I want to talk about how we can sit and try and probe this a little bit more to try and get some actionable insights and data from it, and not just decide to quit or bundle up the whole idea and throw it into the trash can and just, throw out the baby with the bathwater. So we need to change how we view and interpret failure. Often it becomes personal, it feels like a reflection of who you are, and it becomes deeply emotional when really it should be more objective and about the data. So instead of asking, why didn't this make money, ask, what did this idea give me? What did I learn from it? Break down the reframed definition. A failed idea is only one that you learned nothing from. Everything else is R&D. And actually, there are some people who would argue that failure is really good feedback as opposed to just success, because failure tells you what else you can do in order to improve. So give every idea a purpose beyond the revenue as well. Money is not the only metric to determine if something was successful or not. So some things that it could have given you is brand awareness, community engagement, product testing, team experience, market insight. So after the idea just didn't work out how you anticipated it, do an audit after. Ask yourself what worked, what didn't, what surprised you, what would you repeat, and what would you change. Some examples we can draw from of big popular brands that actually tried ideas and they didn't make money, and so usually would have turned them failures. But what lessons did these brands then learn from it, and how did they pivot or change the idea to become something that we know now? So one, preceder to the iPhone and the iPad. So Apple released the Newton in 1993, a bulky, glitchy, personal digital assistant. Do you guys remember the era of the PDA? It was too expensive and the handwriting recognition was just terrible. They used to come with pens that you would write on the screen with, and it became a global joke. But the positive outcome, the Newton taught Apple how people wanted to interact with mobile devices. The technology, groundwork, and learnings directly influenced what then became the iPad and the iPhone later, and it shaped Apple's approach to touchscreens and mobile interfaces. The lesson, even failed prototypes build a foundation for future category defining products. Second, Coca-Cola's new Coke reinforced their brand identity. In 1985, Coca-Cola tried to replace the original formula with the new Coke. The backlash was immediate and brutal. The positive outcome, when they did bring back the Coca-Cola Classic, sales skyrocketed. Secondly, loyal customers felt heard and became even more emotionally tied to the brand. Third, it became one of the most successful failures in marketing. Next, Amazon Fire Phone. So, Amazon actually tried to launch a phone in 2014 and it failed commercially and was discontinued within a year. But what did they learn? The team repurposed parts of the failed technology, such as voice control systems and a microphone, and that then became the foundation for Alexa and Echo, now a multi-billion-dollar product category. It reshaped the smart home industry. And if you think about it, it pivoted them from what everyone else was doing and pushed them into doing something that was more unique to Amazon, which now became Alexa. Fourth, Google Wave led to Google Workspace tools. The failure, Google Wave launched in 2009 as an experimental messaging and document collaboration platform. No one understood it and adoption flopped. But the innovative features were then repurposed into Google Docs, Gmail threading, Google Drive collaboration, and Google Meet chat features. Next, the Dyson. He had 5,126 failed vacuum prototypes. I don't know about you, but I think somewhere around number 100, I probably would have quit. But he built so many prototypes to try and get to the final product that he really wanted. And it was prototype 5,127 that finally worked. And Dyson became a global dominant brand for household essentials. Number 6, Nintendo's Virtual Boy. The Nintendo Virtual Boy launched in 1995 was a 3D gaming console that caused headaches, eye strain, and confusion. But the company realized that portability mattered. comfortable user experience mattered, and VR just wasn't ready. So this led to a breakthrough in handheld gaming systems such as the Nintendo DS, the 3DS, and the Nintendo Switch, which is one of the best-selling consoles ever. Finally, Ford. Ford Edsel shaped Ford's future market research. The failure was the Ford Edsel in 1957, which was one of the biggest automotive flops in history. But Ford completely then transformed its approach to market research and customer insights, and the new processes led to the launch of the Mustang, one of their most iconic products to date. So, a failed launch or a flop in a product will sometimes force you to rethink your approach, and sometimes that shift is the real win. So let us know in the comments, what is that idea that you tried before that didn't work out, and now what other angles are you looking at, trying to look at it from? Because your hero product could lie in that very idea. You just need to keep flipping it until you make sense of it in what is going to work. Thank you so much for watching. This was episode 13 of the Minisodes of the Founder Diaries. Catch you on the next one. Bye. This podcast is proudly sponsored by Beauty Square KE. Beauty Square was my first full-blown business and the brand that pulled me into entrepreneurship and shaped so much of what I share here. In many ways, this podcast is an ode to that journey, the lessons, the growth, and the courage to start before everything was figured out. At Beauty Square, we're passionate about helping everyone become a skin expert, offering authentic products from TikTok favorites to proven solutions for acne, dark spots, and more, with a team ready to guide you through all the right choices. Visit us at our CBD or Lavington branches for expert treatments like facials, waxing, body scrubs, and massages from our sister brand Sage. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at beautysquare.ke and at Sage Skin, spelled SAGESKNN, and thank you for tuning in.